Hey there, everybody. For a while now, Aziz and I and Sean have been wanting to come up with a way to host some regular discussions as opposed to our regular scripted episodes. Scripts are the way that we handle complicated topics that require significant research, but the spontaneity and community that come from these live chats that obviously we had a lot of during the Game of Thrones season, that's a great thing too. And you really can't have too much of that or too much content, can you? So, welcome to the first installment of Why We Love, a series devoted to favorite parts of our favorite series. We're excited to launch this as it will enable us to cover a very wide variety of topics. So, here are a few topics that the series will cover in the future. Where we might choose a character, such as why we love Stannis, why we love Arya, or a house, like why we love House Dane or House Mormont. But we don't have to only talk about things we love. We will occasionally go the other route. Why we love to hate Cersei or House Greyjoy. But this also allows us to talk theories, like why we hate the Mance equals Rhaegar theory, or why we love, some other theory, why we love the theory about Naga's bones. I don't know, something like that. Finally, the other great thing about this series is that it will enable us to have a wider variety of awesome guests, such as the group that we have for you today. We've got 4 guests, all of whom are women. We've got Tara, Chloe, Lady Gwyn, and Haley. And so first of all, Tara, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Tara. I'm really happy to be on this webcast with you guys. This is my first time with History of Westeros, so I've been on a couple other podcasts and everything for Song of Ice and Fire. I'm a writer and a panelist, but the biggest thing I do in terms of this fandom is I'm founded and continue to organize Ice and Fire Con, which is was the first ever Song of Ice and Fire Game of Thrones convention, actually in the entire Western Hemisphere, and about to have its 6th year. So.
Awesome. Okay, Chloe, tell us about yourself.
Hi, guys. I'm Chloe. I run Drunk, A Song of Ice and Fire History, a podcast on YouTube and Podbean. And you can find me on Tumblr writing meta-analysis and speculation theories, and on Twitter as Lies and Arbor.
Great.
I also am the marketing director for Ice and Fire Con.
Yes, you are. Doing a great job, all of you guys. You guys post great stuff for that con. All right, Lady Gwyn, we all know you, but you can tell us what you guys are up to right now at Radio Westeros.
Yeah, hello everyone. Good to see you all here tonight. Like Shay said, I'm from Radio Westeros. We just finished our 3-part series on War of the Five Kings. So we have almost 8 hours out on War of the Five Kings right now. That was just released yesterday. What's up next for us is, I don't know, we have a few things going on for all of our listeners, but really what I'm looking forward to most is Ice and Fire Con, 4 weeks.
Yeah, awesome. We're all going to be seeing each other in about, exactly 4 weeks at this con. So next up, we have Haley of the Manimals, and she does Drinking Game of Thrones. Tell us about that stuff, Haley.
Hi, I'm Haley Bowery. I'm the singer and songwriter for the band The Manimals. We have a record that we wrote about A Song of Ice and Fire. It's called 7, and it's like 7 songs that are from the different point of views of characters. And I also do have a podcast that no one should listen to because we're very drunk on it, and it's called Drinking Game of Thrones. And my next thing, I'm working on like new albums and stuff like that are about fantasy stuff that's not Game of Thrones related. But the next related thing I'm doing is going to Ice and Fire Con also, where I'm going to be on a couple of panels talking about songwriting and some other stuff, which is exciting.
You're doing one with Chloe, right?
I am. That is our just sort of debrief on season 7. It should be pretty ridiculous.
Great. Yeah, I'm really excited to talk to all of you ladies. We've been trying to get an episode with just me, not Aziz, and no guys. So that's nice to finally get that in the works. We've been trying to do that for a while. I can be hard to schedule. So to talk about some other intro-y things, our next 2 planned episodes that will have Aziz in them are House Manderley, which we're actually recording in 2 days on Sunday, followed by Bloodraven Part 2, and then Nymeria and the 10,000 Ships. So that should be fun stuff. House Manderley will be in your feed in a couple weeks. after editing and all that. A couple of patron shout outs. First Sword, Jeff Gnarly, the Long Snapper, as always, we have to mention. Then we have our Dragon Rider patrons. Lord Mark of House Joseph, the Snow and Winterfell, rider of Mazalacartho, a white dragon with green scales, horns, wings, and talons. You should see that on your screen right now. And then we have Telenis the Talon, King of Gagassos, rider of Telarius, a red dragon with scales, horns, and talons of midnight black. And our final dragon, Jinx of House Liera, Green Queen of the Rainwood, rumored daughter of a woods witch, rider of Irigenia. A sylphic albino dragon with amethyst eyes and opalescent wings that will not trip me up today. So, our agenda. We're talking about animals, and just for anyone asking, yes, that is Aziz in the chat. He's doing production. He should have been putting up images throughout all of this, and so you talk to him in the chat if you want to. But this episode is on animals, which Aziz thought would be a good pick because, Ice and Fire Con is going to have that theme of, wild and woolly Westeros, so that's great. But there's a lot of other reasons that we chose animals for our first topic. One of those is that animals are a huge part of A Song of Ice and Fire. Game of Thrones on HBO 2, though it's less so because it's really hard to film real animals, but we did get, Tommen and Sir Pounce and, we got Ned and Lady and the direwolves and stuff like that, and those are some of the fan favorite scenes when we actually get to see those animals. But it's very difficult for them to do that because you can't easily fly a real-life wolf from one country to another, and sometimes cats can be very difficult, as I'm sure we're all aware of. And it can be dangerous for the animal, too, more importantly. So it's understandable, but still a bummer. But we're here to do something about that. We're going to talk about the animals in the series. George himself is a lover of animals. He and his wife have many, many cats, and if you have a chance to talk to him in person, he will easily chat about them for quite a while. I've sat and listened to him talk about stories about his cats before, and so I call him a cat person. But he's also been active with animal charities, most notably the Wild Spirit Wolf Sanctuary. And so I think it's all very fitting that we chat about this. Who doesn't like talking about animals, really? Some people, I suppose. But so at Ice and Fire Con this year, they've had live animals in the past. Last year there was a raven. This year there's going to be wolves. So very, very fitting. We'll definitely be talking some about direwolves in this episode. And so I want to thank everyone for joining us. If you're here live, you can post your favorite moments in the chat, and Aziz will take notes. And if you're joining us after the fact, let us know. Tell us all the animals we forgot to mention. Send us suggestions for future topics and other live streams. You can follow us at Westeros History or on Facebook, where we also have a group going on. It's doing pretty nicely. We've got probably 900 people in there now. There's been a lot of fun discussion and stuff like that. And we've got some admins that you'll recognize from the comments and stuff like that. Some names that are doing a great job running it. So this episode, we asked each of our guests to grab a few of their favorite animal-related quotes, and probably most of us grabbed more than we needed to because we like animals. And so, I did the same. We were supposed to grab 4. I originally had 8, and I got it down to 6. So they're short, I swear. But all of these quotes are full of depth, plot points, and a few surprises. And as it is with just about anything A Song of Ice and Fire related, the more you dig, the more you are rewarded. So I suppose I will start first with one, since I brought up George being a cat person. This is just a very short quote, but I thought it said a lot, actually, right here. It's a quote from A Feast for Crows, Cersei 8, where she says, "Her son was attended by his kittens. As she watched the cats frolic about his feet, Cersei felt a little better. No harm will ever come to Tommen whilst I still live. She would kill half the lords in Westeros and all the common people if that was what it took to keep him safe." And I think this is a really subtle quote because, who hasn't had a cat or an animal and had a really bad day, been depressed, all these things? And your cat or your other animal, it's not just cats, they just cheer you up. They really do the trick. And I think George for sure has had some days like that where his cat's playing at his feet have put him in a good mood. So that's my first quote. Again, it's a short one. I debated whether to include it, but once I thought about how George was such a cat person, I thought it was a good fit. But I think there's more to it as well here, because obviously it also shows Cersei's fierceness. I think it's interesting that they have cats that they're relating to here, because they're Lannister lions, a bunch of other things. Any thoughts? Might have just blabbered on. We also got some super chats that I will have to deal with as well, I suppose.
Yeah.
Sorry. But yeah, I know I kind of just said everything about that quote, potentially.
Well, it is cool. Oh, Tara, you can go out if you want. I was going to say the cats, they're domestic Lannisters, domestic lions. That's what they choose to have. That's what, Tommen especially gets little kittens, and he is just a mini lion, a little docile lion.
He's a little cub. I was just gonna say, yeah, like I've actually not the cat that's crawling all over me right now, but my other cat, who he's like my old man. He's 15 in April, so like in a couple days. He like knows when I'm upset even before I know I'm upset. And I've had friends who have come around my house a lot, and after he gets to know them, he'll do the same thing to them. He'll crawl up and lay on their chest and just kind of like stick his face in their face or stick his face in my face. And it's like, you don't even know you're upset, but somehow he does. So it's like, I don't know. I all the cat quotes in these books are amazing. Like, I honestly think that's probably, like, the cat ones are better than any others. Maybe because George is more of a cat person than anything else. Other than turtles.
Yeah, other than turtles. We can move on. All right, I'll do the super chat first before we move on to the next quote. And if anyone has anything else to say about this one, they can say that. But we got a super chat from Steven Stark. A round of drinks for the ladies, $20. Very nice. We'll be splitting this all up among ourselves. I will have a drink of water. Thank you very much for paying for this sip. We also got one before the chat even started, from Emilio Camacho Ariche. I think it's Ariche, probably. Why wouldn't you love the animals? Probably because you're allergic. That's my guess. Probably that reason. But I can't think of very many other reasons. So, who wants to go next? With whatever quote you really feel like. No problem if it takes you a second to get to it.
I'll throw one out next.
All right.
This one's from A Storm of Swords. It's Sansa 6. Sansa found Brian's old blind dog in her little alcove beneath the steps and lay down next to him. He woke and licked her face. "You sad old hound," she said, ruffling his fur.
It's a nice
I love that, especially because it's Sansa in the Vale. And I mean, we all know that she has a certain affliction for sad old hounds. So it's a very nice echo of her loneliness and time spent in that beautiful, huge, empty castle.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think all of those scenes with Sansa and that dog are particularly interesting, especially because there's all those theories about her skin changing, coming out in that, and her closeness with animals that she has. Yeah. And of course, we can't move on, although I think other ones show this more, of a comparison to her hound, obviously, Sandor Clegane, but I believe you'll have more that have to do with that later on. Let's move on, I suppose. Sorry, it's hard not to get distracted by that chat, which is going on. Who's got their quote picked out for next?
Oh, I'll jump in because I have another Sansa one.
Okay. Keep a good flow.
This is from Sansa 7 in Clash of Kings. And it is sort of when she's gone to her room during the Battle of the Blackwater. Sansa backed away from the window, retreating toward the safety of her bed. "I'll go to sleep," she told herself, "and when I wake, it will be a new day and the sky will be blue again. The fighting will be done and someone will tell me whether I'm to live or die." "Lady," she whimpered softly, wondering if she would meet her wolf again when she was dead. And I just have to stop for a second because I get a little emotional every time I read that. Just the mention of Lady and Sansa she's so terrified, but she still has that connection, and she still thinks of her wolf when she is kind of in danger the most, or when she's the most emotional, she still feels that connection so deeply.
Yeah,
and,
that's a really sad quote.
find
Yeah,
it really poignant.
I'm tempted not to linger on it too much before I start getting choked up too. I'm just thinking about all the animals people have lost, and the thought that it's just sad. It's just really sad, yeah. Especially when Sansa lost her wolf in such a traumatic way so soon in their life. It's extra sad for sure.
And now she's so terrified that she's about to join her.
Yeah.
Like, she really thinks in this moment that she might be dead by the time the next day comes. That's all she can think about.
Rough. Okay, Tara or Haley? You guys have a happy quote or a sad quote to go along with that? Or something to say to keep us crying?
I have a happy one.
Okay.
So I picked out some dragon quotes, which are the least real of all the animals we're going to talk about. But
for sure, but
no
less real to Daenerys.
Right. I picked out stuff that, like, we were sort of talking about them being as non-magical, like what makes them not, nuclear bombs, what makes them little, like her babies, skull babies. So this is from Daenerys 2 in Storm of Swords. Behind the carved wooden door of the captain's cabin, her dragons were restless. Drogon raised his head and screamed, pale smoke venting from his nostrils, and Viserion flapped at her and tried to perch on her shoulder, as he had when he was smaller. No, Dany said, trying to shrug him off gently. You're too big for that now, sweetling. But the dragon coiled his white and gold tail around one arm and dug black claws into the fabric of her sleeve, clinging tightly. Helpless, she sank into Grolio's great leather chair, giggling. And I liked this because first off, Dany's giggling and like feeling like a girl, like with her pets. And there's a lot of times she refers to them as like, what's going to happen next with the dragons. Like, they're going to get big and I'm going to get to fly them and they're going to be weapons and all of that. And it's going to change her relationship to them. But I liked that they're just her pets and her babies here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's actually her looking at their past in that sense. Usually she is looking at the future, and in there you're too big for that now. And I also like you bringing up the use of the word giggling there, because it's a subtle line that you might miss just how joyful she is in that moment, how she's in a good mood and all that. And I think that's sweet for sure.
It is. She doesn't get a lot of chance to be happy, to be a kid. I mean, really, she's still a kid at the beginning of the books.
Yeah, she's pretty lonely too. Well, a lot of characters are lonely in Song of Ice and Fire, but she is like, she's just surrounded by like older people and a lot of men, and like a lot of these female characters are, honestly. Yeah. But to have a pet there.
Yeah, and she has her, of course.
That grounds her.
Yeah, and she has, of course, her horse, her Silver as well, which we don't see much of in Game of Thrones at this point because the awful killing of it. But she does have, a few animal connections. More than her dragons, actually. Okay.
I was gonna say I'll go next. I probably should have gone before Haley, because like this quote would have led into any sort of Daenerys dragon quote really well.
Let's see which one it is.
Game of Thrones. And for the first time in hours, she forgot to be afraid, or perhaps it was for the first time ever. The silver gray filly moved with a smooth and silken gait, and the crowd parted for her, every eye upon them. Dany found herself moving faster than she had intended, yet somehow it was exciting rather than terrifying. The horse broke into a trot, and she smiled. Dothraki scrambled to clear a path. The slightest pressure with her legs, the lightest touch on the reins, and the filly responded. She sent it into a gallop, and now the Dothraki were hooting and laughing and shouting at her as they jumped out of her way. As she turned to ride back, a fire pit loomed ahead directly in her path. They were hemmed in on either side with no room to stop. A daring she had never known filled Daenerys then, and she gave the filly her head. The silver horse leapt the flames as if she had wings. And that's like so symbolic of what happens later with like her riding the dragons and like the fire and everything. But also, if anybody's ever like if anybody's ridden a horse and had the courage to give a horse its head, it takes a lot of courage to do that, because they're very large animals. I don't know. This like brought me back to growing up on a horse farm and one of my horses, where I used to just kind of, he was older, but like I used to just kind of give him the reins and he would just like gallop down this straightaway on our farm. Like, I don't know, made me feel like a kid again.
I'm sure this is probably the most powerful Dany had really felt up until that moment, really, with that horse, I would guess. But I also was thinking about Daenerys riding horses in the past and whether, they were living so, by the skin of their teeth. I wonder how much they would have even had horses or who would have, taught her to ride a horse. If she had a horse she'd had a connection with before. We don't know the answers, but it made me wonder a little bit about her past with horses as well.
It's also something interesting that she starts off riding the horse, and it's very symbolic of her sudden freedom that she's about to get and her kind of rebirthing from the flames. But then you push forward to Clash of Kings and her in the wastelands and the deserts with her people trying to provide and having to eat the horses. Not to bum everyone out, but
horses in this series do not have very good lives.
Yeah.
So
it's true. He's laughing there.
And I'm not even talking about them killing the silver in the show. That doesn't, like, let's pretend that doesn't count right now. In general, most of them are war horses or likely, like farm horses that aren't being well taken care of. So, and also I don't think she had much experience with riding, certainly not a horse of this caliber. But sometimes I think it's easy to know if you've never ridden a horse. It is easy to know whether or not you can trust that horse when you're on it. Honestly, at least I think it is.
I've ridden a horse probably when I was 7 years old, very, very young. I hardly would count it at all, but we should all go out and do a field trip where we experience this power that Dany felt, I think. We're going to move on to the second round of quotes, so I'm going to do another one, and then we're going to have a little Ice and Fire Con intermission chat. So let me pick out which quote. This is crunch time. Like I said, I have 6 quotes.
I've got to pick.
I've got to pick. Yes, I have to pick. Okay. I will pick this one. I didn't pick when I finished that sentence, by the way. Okay, I'll go with this one. The Red Keep was full of cats. Lazy old cats dozing in the sun, cold-eyed mousers twitching their tails, quick little kittens with claws like needles, ladies' cats all combed and trusting, ragged shadows prowling the midden heaps. One by one, Arya had chased them down and snatched them up and brought them proudly to Syrio Forel. All but this one-eared black devil of a tomcat. That's the real king of this castle right there, one of the gold cloaks had told her. Older than sin and twice as mean. One time the king was feasting the queen's father, and that black bastard hopped up on the table and snatched a roast quail right out of Lord Tywin's fingers. Robert laughed so hard he was like to burst. You stay away from that one, child. And so there's a lot to say about this quote, I think, personally. Right off the bat, just the fact that George lists down all these different types of cats that really are very, evocative visually to me as a cat fan. I can see them all very clearly, but that's more of a minor point. Really, what I wanted to get at with this was the mention throughout the series of Balerion, which was that black cat there, Balerion, the black cat, and at one point he was a kitten, which was Rhaenys' kitten, and we'll have some quotes related to that later. But I think these quotes related to all the cats is in Arya's plotline is really interesting and symbolic, because obviously Arya has that mantra, as quiet as a cat, and Cat becomes very quiet later, Catelyn Stark, and so it's this awful, dark thing, but she's also, I think, has become a little bit of a Balerion herself. I think she's kind of she's a rascal, she's outside of the norm, and so I kind of associate her with this cat a little bit, and there's a lot more I want to say, but I will not take it all this time.
Can I say something real quick? My cat's a tuxedo cat, so he's not entirely black.
Yeah.
But I just think you guys would find this funny. Several years ago, I was doing like a Lord of the Rings marathon with some friends over the holidays, and I cooked a whole bunch of stuff. And one of the things I cooked was a taters and onions casserole, and I left it in the oven with the oven like turned off and propped open so that the casserole would stay kind of warm, but the oven would also cool off. And I hear this like commotion in my kitchen, and I go in there, and it turns out that the cat he crawled into the oven, knocked the foil off of the casserole, was scooping the taters and onions out with his paw, and like he eventually maybe he got hot or tired of being in the oven, so he jumped out with like food like in his paw, and my dog went nuts. So the whole Balerian like stealing the food off the table or from Tywin or whatever always reminds me of that.
Yeah, I actually had a story that I could relate to with that as well, where when I was a child, under 10 years old, I had this, it was a tabby cat, not a black cat, but I was eating like KFC, some like fried chicken or something. I was a young kid. I probably wouldn't eat it now, but I was eating KFC and like enjoying it so much. My eyes are closed, right? Like as I have the drumstick in my mouth, this cat comes up and actually bites into it while I like have it in my mouth. Like, so bold. So yeah, I can believe it that cat did that. For sure, cats are very, very bold creatures sometimes. They are the real king of the castle, as it says. And I'm sure that's true in pretty much any house that a cat's in, that they are the rulers. I think. Yeah. Another thing about this I just wanted to point out is the line, ladies' cats, all combed and trusting. I really want to know what ladies had cats. I just want to know, which ones do I like more? That's what I got to find out.
A cool parallel there too is when Sansa is always pictured as combing out Lady's coat in different memories, whether it's Bran having that memory. True. So it's interesting to think of the more docile, beautiful cats and the ragged cat that Arya sees herself as.
Yeah, that's a great point for sure. So yeah, next person up in this round, whoever wants to move along, has their quote ready.
I'm ready. I'll take another. Okay. I got it. Cool. This one, I'll lighten the mood instead of bring it down because the rest of them are kind of sad. They're all sad. Dog stuck his nose in one and yelped when a crab pinched it with his claw. A brief but furious struggle ensued before the dog came trotting back, wet and mud-spattered with the crab between his jaws. And that's from Brienne in A Feast for Crows on the Quiet Isle. And all I can see is just dog just being such a good boy, first off. It's the best of boys, just getting the crab on his nose and just the dog.
Never had any funny, ridiculous dog stories like that with them messing with random creatures. Have you guys had any dogs that have gotten into too much trouble like that, like a skunk or a crab? Would be kind of random, but
my dog loves lizards.
Lizards, oh.
As in she loves killing them.
Oh, I see. So just constantly
and
bringing
she'll
you
like,
lizards.
because I had her when I got her. I lived in South Carolina, and then I moved to Florida about a year and a half ago, and she discovered lizards. And she's not young; she's like 12, and she loves lizards. She catches them, and when she doesn't eat them, she just kills them, and then carries them in her mouth with like the tail hanging out for like a few minutes, and then eventually drops them. She also, I don't think, had ever seen a turtle before I moved down here, so like. We have this whole thing where the lizards are like the cold bloods, and she's waging war against the cold bloods, and the turtles are the armored division. Really hates turtles. Like, I'm not kidding you. She's only ever seen them from afar, and she goes nuts when she sees them. I don't know what she'd do if she ever got a hold of one. She certainly couldn't harm it really unless it stuck its head out. But man, she does not like cold-blooded animals. She's a little bit prejudiced or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder what's. I'm picturing this as a very large crab. By the way, I'm like just in my imagination, it's like the cartoon, like bright red, like huge crab. I don't know. I was trying to think how many times I've actually seen a crab.
It's a dire crab.
A dire crab, yeah, that's kind of what I am picturing probably. It's probably way larger than what a crab actually is.
Obviously, yeah.
But can move along. Anyone else have a dog, dire wolf themed quote?
Well, I have a dog and dire wolf.
Okay,
So.
let's do that one then.
This is Arya 3 from Storm of Swords. She's talking about Nymeria, of course. She said, I wish I had a good mean dog, said Arya wistfully, a lion-killing dog. She'd had a dire wolf once, Nymeria, but she'd thrown rocks at her until she fled to keep the queen from killing her. Could a dire wolf kill a lion? She wondered. I think anytime, these kids are thinking about their lost wolves, it's sad and poignant, and especially Arya thinks a lot about how she had to throw rocks at Nymeria. I mean, it's obviously really broken her up. But she knows she did it to keep her safe. But I love that. Could a dire wolf kill a lion? Yeah. Because she
wants to kill a lion.
She almost like, she's very childlike because she doesn't even realize that thought comes. She mentions Cersei, and then she just has this, wonder if a dire wolf could kill a lion. It was so obvious that she's just kind of wishing Nymeria would have killed Cersei, or maybe she will.
I do love that after both of the girls lose their wolves, whether it be through Arya or through how Sansa lost her wolf, they both get a protective dog over them. Like pretty much, and then after Arya thinks that, you want a lion-killing dog, Arya? Well, let me just
tell you. Exactly.
We got a super chat from Stephen Stark again. A bit of trivia for us. Let's see if any of us can think of it. Can anyone remember owls figuring in a scene? I love owls, but can't recall a single one in A Song of Ice and Fire. Well, we have, I think, owl sigils. At least one, I think.
There's the prologue. The prologue, there's a snow owl right in there.
Yeah, that's a great call. Aziz just told me that the sigil I'm thinking of is House Mertens, by the way. So they're there. But I wonder. Yeah, I mean, I wonder if it's just less likely to happen because they already have to keep, they have to keep ravens.
It's only mentioned twice. The word owl comes up twice. Wow. In both times, it's in reference to Maya Stone.
Oh, really?
Yep. In Game of Thrones, she tells Catelyn, Michael says I have the eyes of an owl, and then in Feast for Crows. It says Maya's like to say her father had been a goat and her mother an owl. Oh,
I see Aziz grabbed a quote here from a Game of Thrones.
I might have. I think I have a Sansa filter on.
Yeah, there are some more. They're all in the north. There's just in the north. There's a lot of owls, but that's about it. I think there's one in Dance. That's about it.
This quote references an ancient owl that sleeps in the dusty loft above the old armory that Bran knows. Yeah. He knows all the birds. He's a bird boy. Unsurprisingly, given what he ends up doing, very unsurprising. But yeah, the ancient owl.
Also, there's one of the hours is the hour of the owl.
Oh yeah, and then Aziz also mentions the hour of the owl. Of course, that's a great call as well. That's when they let the owls loose.
Which is
it's the hour of the owl. Owl of the hour? No, hour of the owl. Hard to say. Say that 6 times fast.
Has anyone ever figured out what all the hours are?
I don't think people have exactly pinned down every one. No, I don't think they have. I don't think we have the information to do it.
No, not enough.
Not enough. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we've talked about these birds, owls. I'm not a bird fan myself, actually, so let's move on. I'm glad you guys didn't pick a bunch of bird quotes. I'm shaking my fist. Who else do we have? Tara or Haley, right? Either of you two? You're muted, Tara, by the way, still, because you were...
I will do one then. Let's see. Okay, more dragons.
Okay.
I just wanted to talk about dragons.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Daenerys 1 from Dance with Dragons. so they're big now. Viserion sensed her disquiet. The white dragon lay coiled around a pear tree, his head resting on his tail. When Dany passed, his eyes came open, 2 pools of molten gold. His horns were gold as well, and the scales that ran down his back from head to tail. You're lazy, she told him, scratching under his jaw. His scales were hot to the touch, like armor left too long in the sun. Dragons are fire-made flesh. She'd read that in one of the books Ser Jorah had given her as a wedding gift. You should be hunting with your brothers. Have you and Drogon been fighting again? Her dragons were growing wild of late. Rhaegal had snapped at Eyrie, and Viserion had set Reznak's Tok'ra ablaze the last time the Seneschal had called. I've left them too much to themselves, but where am I to find the time for them? And so that... I don't know. I picked that one because we're getting to the point where they're getting to be unmanageable and she's about to end up having to lock them up. And it's a really emotional thing to have to put them away. I think not just because they're like her children and her friends and her pets and whatever, but also just the intense kinship she feels with like being a dragon herself, and you know her house sigil and sort of magical Targaryen dragon blood, her connection to them having to lock them away is sort of like she's trapped and do their full, like live up to their full potential where they are.
Mm-hmm. I think there's an interesting couple of lines in there about just kind of day-to-day life, really. One is like when she says, where am I to find the time for them? I mean, think about how hard it can be to find the time for your dogs. Now think about dragons. Like, that's a full-time job, I feel like, just to give them love and attention and train them and everything else. So I think that's an interesting angle. But also when she says, you're lazy, I just think that's very relatable to pet owners, that you're like, kind of bad mouthing your pet, teasing them a little bit lightly, and this is something she's doing. I like that.
Yeah, there's go on.
See, I always get a real like a single mom vibe from that passage, because she's she's overwhelmed by them. She's got these. They've become adolescents. They're just a big giant pain, and she's got to work all the time, and she just doesn't have the time to deal with all the things that they need her to do. I feel like she's just kind of overwhelmed with the responsibility of them at this point.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I like also. I like how they're also very, very much characterized like dogs here, like a tickle, rubbing under his jaw, and like they do sound like wild dogs fighting, like the closest thing.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll go next.
Okay.
Because speaking of not good pet owners,
what do we have here?
So I put this whole quote in the document, and then I struck through half of it, but then I'm just going to read the whole thing and explain why it upsets me at the end. This is from the Hedge Knights. It was cool and dim in the stables. An unruly gray stallion snapped at him as he passed, but Sweetfoot only whickered softly and nuzzled his hand when he raised it to her nose. "You're a good girl, aren't you?" he murmured. The old man always said that a knight should never love a horse, since more than a few were like to die under him. But he never heeded his own counsel either. Dunk had often seen him spend his last copper on an apple for old Chestnut or some oats for Sweetfoot and Thunder. The palfrey had been Sir Arlen's riding horse, and she had borne him tirelessly over thousands of miles, all up and down the 7 kingdoms. Dunk felt as though he were betraying an old friend, but what choice did he have? Chestnut was too old to be worth much of anything, and Thunder must carry him in the lists. And doesn't he promise to go back for Sweetfoot?
Yeah,
he does not.
No, he does. That is the most depressing. Sure, Baylor Bracebeard dies and all that, but the most depressing part of the Hedge Knight for me is that he never goes back and gets his horse.
I feel really bad right now because I never caught that. I never realized he never goes back for this horse because I didn't have as much of a personal connection, and now I like Dunk less for sure. Honestly, I do.
I mean, I guess there's a chance that he goes back after the fact and it's not in the text, but I'm pretty sure he just doesn't.
No, it's like how it's very unsaid all of Dunk's time between the stories. And Eliana from Maester Monthly and I went on for a good hour during when we were recording Drunk and Egg together. We were talking about it, and she was so mad, you guys. She was very angry. She was yelling for a good like half hour. Like, he didn't even go back, and so yeah, Dunk messed up. Not the truest knight in the kingdoms. Even Sandor has a stranger waiting for him. Okay, like
I need to go back and redo that bracket, Chloe, that you posted. I've changed my opinion on Dunk entirely.
I'm sorry.
Oh man, I really never realized that, but yeah, I'm gonna choose to believe that he went back, and the horse had a new home that could take care of him better. That's my canon. I'm sticking to it.
I can get behind that. Because I when I went to college, my parents eventually had to like get rid of my horse because they couldn't care for it and give her as much time as like I did when I was there. But like, I feel like we should have that. We should have that closure.
Yeah.
I want that closure.
Yeah, I mean, he skips over so much in the Dunk and Egg books. I mean, he goes to Dorne, and there's all this. It's 1-2 paragraphs, you know. So. Mm-hmm. It could be just in that his weird adventures that apparently weren't good enough for us, but
maybe he just hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, maybe he hasn't done it.
He's back in that area.
Yeah.
At the end, you know, so maybe in the next.
You guys are making a lot of excuses for Dunk right now, is what I'm saying.
I'm a Dunk apologist.
The next Dunk and Egg book starts. He goes back for.
Yes. You guys are only Dunk apologists because he's thick as a castle wall. That's Dunk. That's all you care about. I see you, ladies.
Okay, so that was round 2, I believe. So we're gonna get onto some Ice and FireCon chat, which means Aziz is gonna have to be on the ball because I have some images I want to put on the screen while we chat about this. So, like we mentioned, Ice and FireCon is going to have some wolves there. So, especially if you're doing a Stark cosplay or any sort of Northern cosplay, you should definitely be going and doing that. But even without that, I'm sure you're interested in seeing wolves. I don't think I've ever actually seen a wolf in real life. Now that I think about it myself, so that'll be interesting for me. And there's one, Chloe or Tara, is there 1 wolf, 2 wolves? Is it still up in the air?
It's just going to be one. Because they have to have,
we talked about
like
that
a
earlier.
Handler and everything. Yeah.
How expensive it is for Game of Thrones. If Game of Thrones can't always get a wolf.
Yeah. No, yeah, they have to have like a handler and everything. And also but that said, there's going to be a wolf there Friday and a wolf there Sunday. I'm going to hazard a guess that it's not going to be the same one.
Okay.
They unfortunately, they're animals. They can't really tell us ahead of time.
Yeah.
If that's the case, or which one of their wolves it's going to be. But yeah, I mean, I highly doubt that it would be the same one that they would put. 2 days apart, they would put an animal kind of. I mean, this is not just an animal, but. It's not a wild animal, but it's not a tame animal like a house dog.
Yeah, it's not a super domesticated animal.
House dogs. So I mean, and that's kind of why when they're there on Friday, they're there for 4 hours, but they're only, or I'm sorry, 3 hours, but they're only doing like 2 hours of photos, and then the last hour is their panel. So,
oh, cool. Yeah. Great.
Panel, Q&A, whatever.
We got a super chat here from Lucifer Means Lightbringer, Mythical Astronomy of Ice and Fire, of course. He said, give the boars some love. Borox monster. Quote, John had never seen a boar so huge or ugly. And the black devil of a boar who killed Robert. Oink, oink. Well, are you going to get yourself a pig of some sort, LML?
What about like a little teacup boar?
Yeah, a little teacup boar, yeah.
My family still has a farm. Obviously, I do not live on it anymore, but they ended up with a rescue pig this was several years ago. And the pig was kind of older, maybe a Vietnamese potbelly or something, but he had tusks, or he had one tusk. They had to remove the other one because it kept growing into his cheek. Whatever. Animals, man. But they didn't have a name for it. Like wherever they got it from, it was just like a petting zoo or something. So they didn't have a name for it. And I was like, can I name it? And they were like, yeah, sure. And I was like, okay, King Robert Baratheon. They just called him Robert, but like, yeah, he was King Robert Baratheon. He did pass away of old age, but he died fat and happy. He lived in their chicken coop area, and he was like BFFs with the chicken. So. Do with that what you will.
I don't know if these things were technically boars or pigs. They were huge and black though, and like I think they like kind of tusks. So I guess they were boars. But in Hawaii, they have a lot of wild pigs or boars, just kind of roaming. And one time, I'm hanging out with my friends on just like a back road. And we're trying to move our car, drive down the road, and just a herd of these boars just starts crossing the road. It must have been 20 of them, as huge as can be, and they're terrifying. Like, we were terrified. We just backed right up and went out a different way. We didn't wait for who knows if they would attack you. But yeah, I mean, that's just a normal boar. I have to think Westerosi boars are like really huge, like especially like he says, Borok's monster. I wouldn't want one of those as a pet myself.
It's like how aurochs are giant cows. It's like, man, like it's like Texas. Everything's bigger in Westeros. You know?
That should be a shirt. Everything's bigger in Westeros, right there. But so let's see, Ice and FireCon stuff. Back to that. There's a couple of panels I wanted to mention. One of these, animal symbolism and foreshadowing. Who's on that one? Aziz never filled that in for me.
Oops.
Do you know Tara or Chloe? Either
that
of you.
is oh my gosh, Butterfly
Oh, okay.
from Song of Ice and Fire University, and an attendee named Shelby, who is a new Ice and FireCon attendee, but has done panels at other conventions. I feel like there's a third person.
Well, good enough of a...
Oh, yes, it's Trin. It's
Trin.
Trin.
Cool, Trin from Behind the Iron Throne.
Yeah, Trin.
Great.
It takes me a minute.
Yeah, she's great. If you haven't checked out that show, Behind the Iron Throne, they're primarily on Facebook, but she'll probably do it again this year. Last year, she was doing live streams at the con during like the parties and stuff, just out front, which was really awesome. I loved it. I did one too. I was just so dazzled by her tech expertise in doing that. So that was cool. So hopefully she'll do that again this year. And so there's that one, which is obviously very relevant, animal symbolism and foreshadowing. There's another one with Lady Gwyn and Aziz, happy moments in A Song of Ice and Fire. And so that will be kind of related to this, because obviously a lot of the ones, the animal quotes we've been talking about are happy moments. A lot of them are pretty sad. I'm looking at you, Lady Gwyn. Pretty depressing. Now, some of them actually, Tara's maybe got to me more at like overall with the dunk thing, but still, this will be happy moments in A Song of Ice and Fire, because depressing moments would be a whole day. So
it's going to be very short.
Yeah. So we'll have stuff like that. Some good panels. A couple other things that Aziz didn't write down here that I wanted to touch on. I'm doing Quiplash that Aziz will help me with, and Sean. If you don't know what Quiplash is, it's kind of like Cards Against Humanity, where you just fill in the blank, but you use your mobile phone, your smartphone, and it's on a screen. And I can create custom prompts for it. So I'm doing Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire, Quiplash at the con. And that should be a whole lot of fun. So if you're coming, make sure you check that out. And if you aren't coming, but you just want to submit prompts or use the prompts yourself for your own game, send us an email or something with that to talk more about that. What else? Okay, pictures and stuff. I wanted to talk about one of my favorite things about the con, which... I like the cosplay, but honestly, my favorite thing about the cosplay is seeing people just in real day-to-day life things. Like, as you can see in this picture, as he's pulling up, this is, that's Tara laying on the ground there, and she's on her phone up in the air. There's a cat who is a Martell there, just reading a book, while Becca, who is cosplaying as Joanna Lannister, gets choked out. So, you know, if you come, you can see scenes like that, which is kind of surreal, honestly. I really loved seeing it. Just little things like that. I don't know what it is about it, just seeing, like, Aegon Targaryen taking selfies or something. Just really, really get a kick out of it. So that's that picture. But you can also see the next picture as he's pulling up is of old Nan. You can see there's a whole range of people who do cosplay, and this was one of my favorite ones, was old Nan in the costume contest with Hodor. Josh, who has done he does a lot of cool costumes, and so but that one was a particularly fitting one. It's one of my favorite moments of the whole con, and I believe she's coming this year. Is that correct?
Who is
Yeah.
Old Nan, Cynthia?
Nan.
Yeah, she
Oh,
is.
yes.
Great.
We did a because we moved and it's quite a bit farther for her. She lives here in Florida, and she's on a fixed income. We did a little GoFundMe to make sure that she would be able to attend this year, because we don't want Ice and Fire Con without old Nan.
Yeah, she was great.
So,
She's really, really great. So you can see that picture there of,
and she's actually on one of the panels.
Oh, really?
Too. She's on the
sewing
costuming and prop panel,
Cool.
which
Yeah.
will be on Saturday. The full schedule with all of the exact times for everything is going to be put out on Tuesday. No, Monday, the second.
Cool.
I wanted to do the first, but then I was like, oh, that's April Fool's.
Yeah, that's not a great day. Yeah, that's not a great day for it, for sure. That would be great if you did do an April Fool's panel, though. I know that'd be so much work. People would be mad, but I would like that, Frank, for sure.
I thought about trying to do an April Fool's joke with Ice and Fire Gum, but I can't think of anything that would be not problematic.
Yeah, right? Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I would fall for it too, because it's my birthday. So I'd be like, "What, Tara? You didn't tell me about this." And I'd
Happy birthday, Chloe.
Thanks.
You share it with the Weasley twins.
We'll make a
I do.
we'll make a musical post on April Fool's Day.
Perfect.
That's when you'll find out all about the musical.
Okay, so I had a third picture. Oh, the third picture I had was for the tourney, which I don't know if sign-ups have closed already, or if you guys are full yet.
No, actually, the tournament is it's exactly half full.
Exactly half full. Okay.
Yeah, the signups for all the events that require pre-convention signups. Faceless Man is the only one that closes a full week before the convention, and that's because it takes time to get that put together, a lot of time. But so Faceless Man will close on the 20th, but honestly, it's going to close before then. It's been 90% full for a while.
Okay.
So
get in on that.
And you have to have a ticket to sign up for these things, because the one problem with the website we use for our signups for these events is that there's really no way to ask all the things we need to ask and also have it automatically turn off once it reaches a certain number. So if there's a day when I'm busy and I can't get to it and it goes over the number, the people who sign up without having before they've bought tickets are going to be the first ones caught, which I posted about in our Facebook group earlier, because we definitely had at least one person sign up for something and they haven't bought it. The Faceless Man is probably the big thing that if you really want to do that, I would buy a ticket and sign up for that ASAP. The board game tournament is also very close. I think we have 4 spots.
Oh, okay. So sign up for those. And while you're at it, sign up for the tourney so I can see you get into some funny situations here. I think Aziz has the picture up now, or we'll have it up. This is one of my favorite pictures I took from the whole con. It's Matt McSorley, who's in a bunch of the Facebook groups and stuff like that, and is often commenting. As you can see, he's not in any cosplay. You don't have to be in cosplay to do the tourney. Wear whatever. It seems smarter to me a little bit to just wear some functional clothes. But he went out there and he was just pratfalling and flipping around. And this picture has Davos was who he was going against in costume, while Oberyn Martell and other people in cosplay, I don't have it in front of me, have those great faces on there. KK, one of the other organizers, is just cracking up in the background. I keep saying this is my favorite thing of the con, but tourney might be my actual favorite thing of the con, just because it's just hysterical. It's so fun, and some people really surprise you with how good they do at it, actually. So
it's going to be more ridiculous this year.
Oh,
too.
yeah, I forgot. You have some other things added.
Last year was actually quite a bit more serious than it had ever been previously. So, like, imagine last year being more serious than it had ever been before. And then we're taking all of that away because it's not going to be one-on-one sword fights the whole time.
Okay, yeah.
It's first of all, there's stick horse jousting.
Yeah.
Thanks to the love of stick horse that was,
Are any of you guys doing the tourney or the stick horse thing? Anyone in this chat? I'm not.
Yes.
You are. Okay. Awesome.
I'm bringing my own stick horse.
Perfect.
Too.
Awesome.
Yes. I've had that question several times, by the way. Yes, you can bring your own stick horse. The only thing you can't bring is your own weapon. We are providing those for safety reasons, obviously.
Yeah.
But, like I said, not all stick horses are created equal, except for the 6 that we bought as a lot from the same website. But no, yeah. So there's stick horse jousting, and then we're doing actual like melee sword fights that are gonna have. So we're gonna have like several judges, and it's going to be like, it's gonna be a mess. I'm not gonna lie, but that's how it had always been done before, and that's why the tournament was so enjoyable. The first not that it wasn't last year, but it was hilarious and ridiculous the first 4 years. 4 years? Yeah, 4 years. So yeah, this year we're kind of going back to that. So there will be, depending on how many people, there will be like melees of 4 to 6 people, and then the winners of those will go into 1 or 2 more melee fights, and then eventually it will be pared down to a one-on-one thing. But yeah, and we just I don't want people to take these things too seriously.
This person in the chat, by the way, Tara, says surely the stick horse tournament should be a tribute to Sweetfoot. Surely.
Yes. Yeah.
Pour one out. That's
I'm going to name all 6 of our stick horses Sweetfoot. Sweetfoot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
These are our sweet feet. Our sweet fleet. Our sweet feet fleet.
Sweet feet.
Something like that. Yeah.
A new crossover.
So we have all this plus a ton of panels and like parties. Manimals are playing, which is Haley's band, and more music. I'm sure there's a lot to do there. It's a lot of fun. And we will all be there. Aziz, Sean, other podcasters and YouTubers, other just cool people that I'm sure you know. Other plus, Brendan Beefish, Jeff will not be there, so you're safe to come. So you heard it here. So let's move on to our third round. We're about an hour and a half in. Not quite even that. A little over an hour. So cool. So yeah, let's move on to our third round, I suppose, so we can get to all these quotes that we all went overboard on. I will start since we have somewhat kept that going. Let's see. Pick this up. Okay, I'll go with this one. Minor point. Just a short quote. "You won't hurt Daron, though," the boy said. "He told you he'd fall down. And Arian, I remember when I was little, he used to come into my bedchamber at night and put his knife between my legs. He had too many brothers, he'd say. Maybe one night he'd make me his sister, then he could marry me. He threw my cat in the well, too. He says he didn't, but he always lies." And that's from The Hedge Knight. And I really don't have a lot to say about that, other than obviously the comparisons between, Joffrey and Euron and just awful people. But the main thing I wanted to bring up was I just didn't realize until I did a search in the books for cat. I didn't realize that Egg had a cat. I just didn't know that before this. I don't know. I just skimmed past it, I guess. So that was really my big takeaway. What's that? Also, on that note, it made me think about George being a cat person. Anyone who has a cat, He likes them. I like them. Is that like a signal that Egg is good? He isn't gonna go fucking crazy and he's gonna go crazy and kill his whole family by getting too involved in things. Maybe he's still lucid. I don't know. I'm fingers crossed.
I feel like I've known one person who like just did not like cats, and they were not a good person. Like, and I'm not talking like I don't care for cats. I'm talking like don't even get a cat anywhere near me, and not people who are allergic, like somebody who just hates cats for no good reason. They have no reason to hate a cat, but they do.
Yeah, and obviously, so Joffrey cuts a cat open. Arianne throws him down a well, and like, just awful. I should have looked up if Euron had done anything. Do you think the Greyjoys even had pets? Really?
Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah, I don't think so. If they did, he would have killed them. Yeah, hopefully not.
I feel like it's like a nice foreshadow that like each jerk big brother that happens to be crazy, like Viserys being cruel, and then like Joffrey being cruel, and Arianne being cruel, all end up having horrid death fates. Like Joffrey, obviously, with the purple wedding, and Arianne, trying to drink wildfire and turn into a dragon, which that was real smart. We never said the Targaryens were the smartest family.
Yeah. So, we'll see Euron get an awful ending too. I'm thinking for sure. We did get a super chat here again from Steven Stark. I don't think I said it right. No. Okay. He said, "Thanks, ladies. Gotta run. Wish I could make it to Ohio, but I'll meet any of you who come to Con of Thrones. Cheers," which is the next month, just about exactly a month after. And I don't know that any of you will be there, right? I don't think any of you four will. So.
I can't make it.
Yeah, it's so close to another con, and then you're doing Dragon Con too. Like you guys do that, and it's like it's hard.
And San Diego Comic Con too.
Oh,
so
you
it's
are.
just
like Chloe and I are doing San Diego Comic Con.
Wow.
Yeah, unfortunately, with it pushed up 1 month this year from where it was, I just can't do both.
Yeah, that's too bad. Yeah, we're going to Ice and Fire Con, Con of Thrones, Dragon Con, but then like the week before Dragon Con, we're gonna do World Con, and that's definitely a big stretch to do that.
Yeah.
But it's just George's only appearance until really the next book is announced, if he keeps his words. So I'm like, I won't miss it. I've never done a World Con. It should be fun. So we'll be there as well. But we met Steven Stark at Con of Thrones last year, so we'll see you there again. So yeah, next person's quote. Whoever wants to do anything at all.
I can throw one out there.
Keeping it going, because me and you, we have a certain order.
Yeah, me and you, we got this. This is some good teamwork. This is from Sansa 1 in A Game of Thrones. "You are shaking, girl," he said, his voice rasping. "Do I frighten you so much?" He did, and had since she had first laid eyes on the ruin that fire had made of his face, though it seemed to her now he was not so terrifying as the other. Still, Sansa wrenched away from him, and the hound laughed, and Lady moved between them, rumbling a warning. Sansa dropped to her knees to wrap her arms around the wolf. They all were gathered around gaping, and she could feel their eyes on her, and here and there she heard muttered comments and titters of laughter. I love that Lady, like immediately in the sense of danger, just immediately gets herself in between there of Sansa and the hound and says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, mister, back off, Mr. Big Dog Guy. I'm the big dog guy. Chill out." And I love any quote where Sansa's just got her arms wrapped around Lady. I saw a really beautiful piece of fan art yesterday. Kind of made me cry, where it's just like what Lady would have looked like if she was fully grown. It was Sansa like laying on her and sewing. And just doing needlework while laying against her. And it's this big, beautiful wolf. And I was very sad. So I love Lady quotes.
Lady. Anyone have anything else to say after Chloe broke that down? Because I have a challenge for you guys. Rebecca Baluk is holding up Acre Frey's standard super chat that he gives, which is we all have to say Irish wristwatch 3 times fast. I suppose I will do it again since it's been a while. Irish wrist. I already messed up. So there you go. I'm out. I'm not going to do it again. Thanks.
I mean, I don't mind trying, but I've had like half a bottle of bottle of wine.
Well,
And
that's
I
all.
don't mean like a regular
all the
bottle.
better.
I've drank this, and like I'd already had like.
I
this
don't think you
much
can
of
do
an
worse
old
than
bottle.
me messing it up on the first iteration
So what is
of
it?
it. I can't even.
What are you supposed
now.
to say?
Irish wristwatch 3 times.
Irish wristwatch. Irish wristwatch. Irish
There
wristwatch.
you go. So you did it. No problem.
Yeah.
Brought it.
I think
Okay.
it's all about the wine.
Meanwhile, my phone, when I talk to text, can't understand 90% of what I say, but it's fine.
Okay. Who's next? It's gonna.
I'll give it a go.
Okay.
I surprisingly have had 0 wine. Very surprisingly. I know I'm forsaking the drunk ASOIAF name right now. Irish wristwatch, Irish wristwatch, Irish wristwatch.
You did it. A little sloppy at the end, but pretty good. Pretty close. Okay. Who's next? Haley? Lady Gwyn?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm drinking beer out of a straw. So, okay. Irish wristwatch, Irish wristwatch, Irish wristwatch.
There you go. You killed it. It's
Kind
all pretty well. I think it's all your vocalizing, all your singing. You've got it down. Let's see, Lady
I
Gwyn.
used to have to do a lot of those in theater school.
Hey, Lady Gwyn, you've got practice. You've had to do this before. But I had that excuse too.
Exactly. So, all right. Irish wristwatch, Irish wristwatch, Irish wristwatch.
Nailed it. I think you got the 100%. I think you got the best. Not that we're meant to be ranking it. I don't know why I am.
I also
but
went last, so I had a lot of time to think.
Yeah. That's going to be my excuse. I went first.
Yes.
So, okay. So we just did Chloe's Sansa quote. So let's move on to whoever knows what quote they want to do next. I will keep talking while you.
I can do
Okay,
one. I'll
perfect.
do Arya because
Okay.
Arya Sansa. That's a
Perfect,
good
yes.
segue. Also, there's Sandor in this. This is from Storm of Swords. They had 2 now, a stranger and a Sarl Palfrey mare. Sorry, Arya had named Craven because Sandor said she'd likely run off from the twins the same as them. They'd found her wandering. God, I cannot read. Wandering riderless. I can say Irish wristwatch, but I can't say wandering riderless. They found her wandering riderless through a field the morning after the slaughter. She's a good enough horse, but Arya could not love a coward. Stranger would have fought. Still, she tended the mare as best she knew. It was better than riding double with the hound. And Craven might have been a coward, but she was young and strong as well. Arya thought that she might be able to outrun Stranger if it came to it.
Mm-hmm. So that one has got obviously some horse action in it, some more there, which I mean, I guess Arya just doesn't have anything for this horse. Like she says, she could not love a coward. It's just its name. I mean, it did run off, but it's a horse. You can love a horse. I don't know.
I think kind of the point of the passage is almost that, yeah, Arya, she's kind of talking smack about this horse.
Yeah,
but
she
like,
talks smack about
really
everyone.
does like it.
But she
really does like this horse.
That's
She
true of
named
Sansa,
the horse.
I think, as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she talks smack about her, and she's rude to her, but she loves her.
She loves her. She ran away from the twins, and Arya's in her heart. She's probably like, why couldn't my mother just run away from the twins?
She's like a kid, like a young kid that has a crush on someone and is like talking, like being rude to them, but like deep down really likes them. I mean, think about it. The first half of the passage, she's like, she's a coward because she ran out from the twins, but then also she's young and she's fast and she could probably outrun Stranger. Like, Arya's a kid.
Well,
and I mean,
also
at this point, she hasn't become like what we know her as, later in the series. Really, she's on her way there, but she hasn't quite become it. So she's still like enough of a child to have that sort of like, well, I don't like this horse because it's, not brave, but also I like this horse because it's fast and young.
Well, and she's coming into like a lot of her morality problems. I mean, she was raised by Ned and Kat, and she was raised with this very clear definition of do the right thing, and this is how to be a good person, and this is what being good means. And if somebody doesn't do this, they're a bad person. And you even see it after the twins. She says to Sandor, right before she leaves him, she says to him, "You should have saved my mom." And even though, as we know, as the reader, you know, Sandor was saving her. She would not have survived any of that. Sandor was really saving her with that blunt of the axe. But for her, she was saying, you should have done this. That's what a good person would do. And then she ends up entering a literal house of black and white and finds out things aren't always that easy.
I was trying to type this, but I will just tell it as is. You need to paste the super chats in the document. There's been 2 that I don't know where they are. Okay. Then I will get to that. Here, if I can find it. Okay. 2 little ones. One is a question, and the other one is forcing me to say this again. Pegleg Pete 1, $5 super chat. Irish, pause. Wristwatch Irish. Wristwatch Irish. Wristwatch. Well, thank you. I think that was easier if I had focused on saying it like that. Irish, wristwatch, Irish, wristwatch, Irish, wristwatch. Okay.
Yes.
I said it twice for you. So good I said it twice. All right. We also got another one from Mary R.H. If you had a direwolf, what would you name him or her? Now, that's a sweet question. I don't want to go first because I'm thinking about it. Honestly, I tend to name my animals after a Song of Ice and Fire character, so I guess I would still just name them after a historical character, like how, I mean, you all know me, real talk, I would probably just name her Nymeria, like Arya did in Worlds, but if I couldn't go with that, I have to think about it for a second. Does anyone else have an idea?
I mean, can I like cop out and just say I would name it the same as I've named my dogs?
Yeah.
Like, is that a cop-out?
Yeah, say it. What's your if you choose one though, the first one.
I have a boy dog named Rigby, after the Beatles song. Eleanor Rigby, obviously, but he was a boy, so we had to go with Rigby. And then I have a girl dog named Wendy, but her full name is actually Miss Wendy Darling.
Oh, okay.
Peter Pan, right?
Yeah.
So
it depends on what the direwolf is.
And they're still alive, so I feel like I you know, they are my direwolves in all their floppy-eared fluffy goodness.
Anyone else?
I know mine. I would probably do something kind of Arya style, name mine after a historical character, or Rhaenys style, and name it after a historical creature. And I would name mine Moon Dancer after Baela Targaryen's dragon, because it's my favorite dragon.
I like that call. Going with the historical creature. That's nice. Anyone else?
I was really obsessed with wolves as a kid, really obsessed. And in second grade, it was second grade mostly, I just went through really intense obsessive phases. And we read a book called Julie of the Wolves. And that was, I think, where it all began. And then my second grade teacher took me like alone to a wolf sanctuary to look at wolves. It was weird now looking back, but so I had to look it up. But I picked a name. I picked a name of one of the wolves from that book because that's my connection to wolves, which was Amarok, which is a pretty name for a wolf. I've decided.
I got yours down. I got mine. I realized too. It's on my shirt. It's Agent Jack Bauer right here. Because he really is the man. So that's what I'd name my direwolf. I've decided, just because I don't have a good answer. Lady Gwyn, what about you? Are you still?
I don't have a great answer either, but I think I probably want to go with something kind of something northern. You know, I would also go with something historical. You know, but none of the northern Stark names are very good animal, like Bran. John, think about Torrin. So I'd probably pick like a wildland name.
Oh yeah,
Tormund or something.
Grit. Val isn't very great, but yeah,
one of those great wildling kings or something.
Do you have any pets, Lady Gwyn?
Currently, no.
No, you don't. I figured kids would name them in any case. You probably wouldn't name them.
Yeah, I had cats. Which I moved recently, so I had to. Sadly, one of my cats passed away, and I rehomed another one.
I'm sorry.
Over the course of my move, and she has not come back. So, she stayed with her.
On that somber note, TJ Pipes wants a high five. I just said.
Break that up.
He asked it a while ago, but he wants a high five from all of us ladies. I have to tell you, TJ Pipes, it doesn't exactly work that way. But I will still do it while laying down some knowledge that Aziz waited 6 years to tell me, which is that if you want to high five perfectly every time, look at the other person's elbow instead of their hand or their face, and you will nail it. And I wish I had known that years ago. I am still mad about knowing that. But anyways, I look at my elbow while you high five me, TJ. Here you go. Oh, is that there? Yeah, that's there. The camera wasn't there. So I did my high five. You guys can decide if you want to high five him. I won't force it.
I'll give you one, TJ.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I'm supposed to do exactly.
Just that.
Like up high, down low.
Oh wow, low five. But yeah,
whoa, too firm, TJ.
I just want to say though, did any of you guys know that about the high five trick? Was I just?
Yeah.
I was
I've
just
heard that.
Wow. I
Also, too late for me
Too late.
in life because it's too late to save me.
Yeah, you know, if that high five doesn't go through, it is what it is. That's just.
All right. So moving forward, I don't think we have any more super chats to distract us from this. If we're moving at a good pace. Who wants to go next? I think we have Lady Gwyn or Haley. Neither of you guys have gone in this round. Is that right?
No, yeah, I can do this
Okay.
one.
Either one, yeah.
I have a another kind of direwolf quote. This is Cat 7 from Clash of Kings. She's talking about the scars on her hands and talking to Brienne, and she says, they sent a man to cut Bran's throat as he lay sleeping. He would have died then and me with him, but Bran's wolf tore out the man's throat. I gave her a moment's pause. I suppose Theon killed the wolves too. He must have, elsewise. I was certain the boys would be safe so long as the direwolves were with them, like Robb with his Grey Wind. But my daughters have no wolves now. So what's going on there is Kat is she's trying to convince herself, you know, about, or maybe justify she's getting ready to let Jaime free to go, you know, in exchange for her daughters, because she's convinced that, you know, they're going to be exchanged and they have no one to protect them because their wolves are gone. But on another level, I find this really sad and poignant because she's so confident that Robb is safe with Grey Wind, you know, and that all of her other kids have been forsaken by their direwolves. And really, it turns out to be the exact opposite. It's so very sad.
Oh man, bring that mood down, Lady Gwyn.
All my quotes.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, I thought we were talking about things we liked.
Why you love animals? Because they die.
I'm the same way. I don't do happy endings or any of that nonsense. So yeah.
Yeah, I came here to be sad. Let's get sad. I do love with Cat, like, it's kind of interesting because, like Bran says in the beginning, you know, when Sansa loses her wolf, he goes, she lost her wolf, and he gets sad. And when they find the wolves' mom is dead, and he lays there, he goes, their mom's dead, where will they go? And like whenever Cat, that echo, and she just thinks all her kids are dead, all our babes, you know, I mean, it's just real. What a bummer, man.
Yeah, for sure. I don't have anything depressing to say about that myself. I think you guys covered it, if I'm being honest. I do think it's a good quote, and I do think George kills animals beautifully. Very well. It's sad stuff. It really is, and especially like you mentioned, because it is just a bit of irony that she thinks that, and it's not true exactly.
I honestly think that what Arya has to do to Nymeria is more depressing than when they have to kill the wolves, or when they kill the wolves. Like, don't get me wrong, the killing is awful. Yeah. It's awful, but like it's always very sudden. And like with Arya and Nymeria, it's like a separation. Like, I gotta be honest, that would screw me up if somebody forced me to separate from one of my dogs. It's just what?
Like that. It screws her up.
Or in any way, but also like that, where she literally has to like throw rocks at her to make her go away. Like, I get that we got some sort of weird one-on-one moment with them in this show, but like I'm like hoping for and both hoping for and dreading them running into each other again in the books.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I don't want to talk about the show much here at all, but I will say I'm my hope's still out that wasn't the end of Arya and Nymeria personally. But that's maybe it's for the best that they are separated because she'll just die otherwise. I don't know. That's kind of is what I expect out of the books is her death.
Join us in your sadness. One of us.
Death. Okay, so Haley, what quote? You have all dragon quotes.
Dragon stuff. Let's see. We want baby dragons.
Yeah,
yes.
baby dragons.
Would be nice. Okay, so this is basically one of the early descriptions of what the baby dragons are like. So this is from Dany 1, Clash of Kings. The dragons were no larger than the scrawny cat she'd once seen skulking along the walls of Magister Illyrio's estate in Pentos, until they unfolded their wings. Their span was 3 times their length, each wing a delicate fan of translucent skin, gorgeously colored, stretched taut between long, thin bones. When you looked hard, you could see that most of their body was neck, tail, and wing. Such little things, she thought as she fed them by hand, or rather, tried to feed them, for the dragons would not eat. They would hiss and spit at each bloody morsel of horse meat, steam rising from their nostrils, yet they would not take the food, until Dany recalled something Viserys had told her when they were children. Only dragons and men eat cooked meat, he had said. When she had her handmaids char the horse meat black, the dragons ripped at it eagerly, their heads striking like snakes. So long as the meat was seared, they gulped down several times their own weight every day, and at last began to grow larger and stronger. Dany marveled at the smoothness of their scales, the heat that poured off of them, so palpable that on cold nights their whole bodies seemed to steam. So, I don't know. I liked this because it's her. I think, like, you get a new puppy or something, you're like a new cat, you're trying to like figure out what it eats and like how to deal with it, but also because it's a fantasy creature, like there's actually several different descriptions of other kinds of animals in there of like to sort of connect you to it, snakes and cats, scrawny cats that she grew up with, I guess.
It really makes me picture those weird hairless cats. I love them. I think they look really cool.
The Sphinx cat.
Yeah, I picture that a little bit. I think I like them. I've always wanted one of these. It's always like, ugh, never.
They're cool. They're so nice. That like I had a friend who had one of those. They're like, they act like dogs, and like they're just like really super friendly and cuddly, and they're just like soft wrinkles.
I really just want to touch one. I've never touched one even. I'm just so curious. Yeah. Like I guess I've had like a cat where part of it had to get shaved, so I kind of get it, but they look different. Anyway, so yeah, they're little hairless snake cats. Here.
Yeah. They still sound cute though. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. With some of it doesn't sound so cute to me. A little bit. I don't know. The bloody morsels of horse meat, for example.
Sure. A little savage, yeah.
Are they eating
honestly, like I just think of it as steak and it's fine.
And it's fine for you, yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean,
like I replace horse meat with steak and it's fine.
Who cares about cows?
I would rather handle bloody steak than raw chicken any day.
Yeah, venison or something. It's like venison.
Venison's fine. Yeah, venison's fine.
I mean, it's a little gamey. Yeah, that is a little gamey.
Yeah, better than the human bones, however, that we see later.
Is it though?
Not to me.
That passage always makes me think of the future, like the fact that they toss their meat up in the air and char it.
Yeah.
And I always extend out to, oh, yuck. This is what they're going to be doing to people one day.
Yeah. They will be doing it to people. They are doing it to people now, but aren't they cute?
Yeah. Before you know how they eat, it was adorable.
Okay.
It's cute how she figured out how to feed them.
So that was round 3. We've each done 3 quotes, I believe, unless I somehow got off here. And we're just about exactly on time at 90 minutes. We can extend out and get to whatever quotes we think we can, I think, and wrap it up within the next 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I'm gonna pick my quote. I'll go with this one that I said we'd get to earlier. From A Game of Thrones, Eddard 15. Rhaenys was a child too, Prince Rhaegar's daughter, a precious little thing, younger than your girls. She had a small black kitten she called Balerion, did you know? I always wondered what happened to him. Rhaenys liked to pretend he was the true Balerion, the Black Dread of old, but I imagine the Lannisters taught her the difference between a kitten and a dragon quick enough the day they broke down her door. Varys gave a long, weary sigh, the sigh of a man who carried all the sadness of the world in a sack upon his shoulders. The High Septon once told me that as we sin, so do we suffer. If that's true, Lord Eddard, tell me, why is it always the innocents who suffer most when you High Lords play your Game of Thrones? And obviously that's just a really famous quote, but we also wanted to talk a little bit about Balerion and their past. I had a question about this, though. Don't you think Varys would know what happened to this? Like, it's just around. It's done some, like, crazy things. You know what happened to this cat. I don't know. I guess he just doesn't pay enough attention. Any thoughts on that? It's kind of a random thought I had. Is he just being facetious there? Like,
He could be, but he also maybe, like, it's just something he hasn't concerned himself with.
Yeah.
He doesn't find the merit in knowing it.
Yeah, I mean, little birds gotta watch out for cats.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I kind of figure that as well. But he said if he always wondered, answer your question there.
It's your own question. He's always been there.
Yeah, he's just been there. He's like, he jumped up on King Robert's table, you know, and, like, I think you know who he is. I don't know. I had never really thought about that until I read it out loud, honestly. But more importantly, this is just showing the comparison between Rhaenys and, you know, the Baratheon Lannister children there, Tommen and Myrcella in particular, but children in general. I can't help but compare it to Tommen, most particularly due to him having kittens as well, myself. And so it's very sad, because I mean, Tommen's got it coming. I'm pretty worried about Tommen because I like him okay. I don't love him.
Well, I like this. Speaking of Tom, I imagine the Lannisters taught her the difference between a kitten and a dragon quick enough, and that I find that very sad. But it makes me worry about Tommen because I think a Targaryen might be maybe learn the difference between kittens and dragons in his own, you know.
That's a good point. It's very sad.
Sorry.
Poor little Tommen, yeah. Poor little Tommen. Poor little Rhaenys, even more. Tommen, nothing's happened to him yet, and it's a very tragic story there. That Varys tells.
Let's just say a word to Aziz. I think our panel is in trouble.
He's cracking up there. Yeah, that's hilarious.
I'm clearly a big downer.
You're the but person. Yeah, it's happy, but eventually this will happen. But yeah. Also, I am sad for Balerion. As an aside, I know. I mean, Rhaenys is the one that was killed, and she was an actual human and all that, but. It's just, I mean, he becomes such a mean old cat. It's an awful, he's lost his owner. It's just sad.
Yeah. Actually, like, oh my God, I'm looking at it now because I was trying to find it. This is from 2013. I wrote this like really ridiculous Tumblr post about how it's like a stupid theory about Balerion the cat. I mean, it is stupid, okay? Like nobody could possibly believe this.
The Rhaenys, is it a Rhaenys warning thing? No.
I'm trying to remember.
I know that's a theory I wanted to mention. I'm glad you bring it up because that is a theory that people have, is that Rhaenys might have warged into that cat in a second life. It starts with the kitten. Yeah, it's
theory.
A little crackpot, but it's less crackpot now that we know that they have Blackwood blood. I just thrown it out there, like straight up.
It starts with the kitten theory where Rhaenys is Balerion, and then ends with how he's actually like the father of Sir Ponce, Lady Whiskers, and Boots. Oh, so the thing is, I posted this as a joke. Okay. 5 years ago, and every once in a while I'll sign into Tumblr because I don't use Tumblr, and when I do, I swear to God, like at least a couple times a year, some random person will pick this post up, and there'll be like 5, likes or reblogs. all like kind of on top of each other. I'm like, why are you? This is a joke between some friends and I.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, where it goes, yeah, it's all crap. I don't think Rainey is Balerion, the Black Cat. I don't, but I can't deny that crazy theory was given more fodder after the World of Ice and Fire and all that. It is actually possible. It's legitimately possible, as weird as that would be. I think she would have had to, like, actually bond with the cat. I don't think it really is possible, personally. I am not really a theorist, but I just think it's funny that crackpot theory was given more validity years later.
Not to mention Arya skin changing into the cat.
Yeah. I'm probably throwing too much shade on it than I should. I don't think it is at that crackpot, actually, but I don't really think it. I just think it's curious that he did add the Blackwoods, but I don't think it was for like Rhaenys to be a cat. Like, it's kind of like, what's the purpose of that? Nothing happens at it. How do you ever find that out? There's no reason for it. So that's generally what I think of when I think of theories, is what is the purpose of this? What is the literary significance? And I just don't know. Anyways, that was a while spent on that little quote. So, Chloe, do you have yours ready since you went?
Yeah, I do. And I'm gonna spitball left field. I'm gonna wild card on you guys. You would not expect this one. It's from A Storm of Swords. It's Daenerys 6. I'm going with a dragon quote. I'm knocking Haley's game.
That's okay.
She found Rhaegal asleep beside the pool, a green and bronze coil basking in the sun. Drogon was perched up atop the pyramid in the place where the huge bronze harpy had stood before she commanded it to be pulled down. He spread his wings and roared when he spied her. There was no sign of Viserion, but when she went to the parapet and scanned the horizon, she saw pale wings in the far distance sweeping above the river. He's hunting. They grow bolder every day, yet it still made her anxious when they flew too far. One day, one of them may not return, she thought.
Yeah. Well, I think we saw how some of that might happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, there are chances of that happening, yeah.
Strong chances that more than one of them may not return. Very sad. It was bumming me out again. No, I think it is a nice little thing. I like it when he describes them as like coils basking in the sun. I don't know. It makes me, relate to them, understand them more, because I like snakes personally, and I know a lot of people don't, but I do like them. So I like the dragons a little more when he describes them like that, I guess.
I would absolutely have a pet snake if you didn't have to feed them.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I would never either. That just sounds
I love snakes. I just can't. I could not handle having to feed them a live animal.
Yeah.
Or dead.
Or dead. Yeah, or just an animal. You're just dealing with that death.
It doesn't matter. I don't want.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't want that at all.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Oh, there goes my dog. Sorry.
Oh, I didn't even hear it. So. Says, I want a mouse. Okay, so let's see. I'm just looking at this quote you had, making sure I didn't forget anything there. I suppose we can move forward, try to get through the rest in these next 10 minutes. Who wants to go next?
I'll do mine. Mine's really short.
Okay.
And this is, honestly, this is more about, like, Jaime than it is about the horses involved, but I still love it. This is from Feast for Crows, which, by the way, is my favorite book of the series. His palfrey was a blood bay, his destrier a magnificent gray stallion. It had been long years since Jaime had named any of his horses. He had seen too many die in battle, and that was harder when you named them. But when the Piper boys started calling them Honor and Glory, he laughed and let the names stand. Glory wore trappings of Lannister crimson. Honor was barded in Kingsguard white.
Honor is a horse. We're all thinking it.
I love that. I love that Glory is what the Lannisters are all about, and honor is. His honor is the King's Guard. I love that quote. I'm so glad you brought that one.
I like that quote, but I don't think for the reasons you do. I just cracks me up, those names, honestly. It's always cracked me up that their names are Honor and Glory. That Piper kid's good naming.
So that's just that.
Jaime has a very dry sense of humor.
Yeah.
He really does. And like the fact that Yeah, it was the Piper boy who named the horses.
But people are gonna think that
he,
Jamie named them, probably.
yeah,
But he laughs.
Yeah.
I love that he laughs about
Yeah,
it.
it shows
And
his sense of humor.
Undoubtedly, he's the one that was like, okay, we're going to put glory in the red and honor in the white. I mean, he's like, he sees the kind of,
The subtle irony behind
subtle
it.
ironies there. Yes.
I know, and he's thinking too at the same time. He's thinking, what do you know of glory and honor, boy? You don't know what that entails.
You think it's a horse. Yeah.
Boy. I had to get my own kitty cat. Well,
Oh,
mainly he was
yay.
disturbing the camera, but yeah, it's nice to have a cat on screen. Hey, Xerxes. No, goodbye. Just a
Bragger.
important thing. Okay, so horse chat. Who wants to go next? Either with something a good segue or whatever. We're getting close.
I'll go because
Okay.
then we can end.
Cool.
Just in case mine is depressing.
I think we know what yours will be. Very depressing.
It's not that depressing.
Okay.
It's from Game of Thrones. It's from Sansa 1. And they're at table and Sansa is feeding Lady under the table. Septim Ordain sniffed in disapproval. A noble lady does not feed her dogs at table, she said, breaking off another piece of comb and letting the honey drip down onto her bread. She's not a dog, she's a direwolf, Sansa pointed out as Lady licked her fingers with a rough tongue. Anyway, Father said we could keep them with us if we want. The Septa was not appeased. You're a good girl, Sansa, but I do vow when it comes to that creature, you're as willful as your sister Arya. And a lot of reasons I like that, but I really just love the comparison to Sansa and Arya.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote a piece about it a long time ago, a few years ago now, and I just think they're really so much alike, and it's right there, right in early on Game of Thrones.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that they both embody parts of Lyanna for Ned. You know, Sansa is the young girl that's falls for a crown prince, and he sees her as this hopeless dreamer, sitting listening to harp and songs and totally in love. And Arya is, the willful side of Lyanna with swords and disobeying, but yet they both connect over the wolf blood. They both have the wolf blood very much so in them.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that you're right. I don't think that quote is very dark or depressing. It's downright funny to me. Just when she says she's not a dog, she's a direwolf, I can just hear her saying it very snarkily. She can be very cutting in her tone, and I love that line actually.
So preteen. So
Yeah.
she's a direwolf. Duh.
Yes, exactly. That's perfect.
Also, though, like anytime they feed the direwolves from the table, I'm just like, oh, don't do that.
Don't do it.
I'm not even kidding you. We had a friend who came and stayed with us back in January, and he's from another country. It's actually like Australia. But he kept feeding our dogs from the table, and when he left, we actually put him through some trials. He had to go through the trials of the 7. It's a long story, but in the end, he won the trials barely, and so we gave him like a Stannis figurine as his prize. And we don't do this to most of our friends, by the way. He brought this upon himself. So when he left, he had this Stannis figurine or whatever, but he stole from us these other like figures that we were like, so to win the Stannis figurine, you actually have to renounce Stannis as your one true king and claim, say that you believe that Daenerys Targaryen is the one true queen of Westeros. So he renounced Stannis and claimed that Daenerys was the one true queen of Westeros, and he gets the Stannis figurine, but like we also made him, I think it was say that like the governor was like awful from The Walking Dead and Carl was better and stuff. So they were like, that Loki was a crappy villain or something. So
all things they didn't believe.
We had these figures. We don't actually believe that, but we just wanted. He believed the opposite, so we were making him. Yeah. So he took these figures and he like violated our guest right. And then he comes back and he's like, but they're still in their packages. I'm going to send them back to you or bring them back the next time I visit. And I'm like, but actually, we also asked you not to feed our dogs under the table. Like they don't get human food. And you did. So
he's fired.
You still violated guest right. So...
But I think that's 2 points. One, they need to feed the dogs when they get there so they get that guest right. 2, if you bring a dog as a guest. But my other question there is honey bad for dogs? Is it bad for direwolves? Do you know if honey's bad for dogs themselves? Like it's comb with honey? I was just kind of curious. Like Sansa's just feeding her with lady whatever, but like I don't think they can just eat anything.
More than a teaspoon of honey a day can impact their health negatively, according to the Google machine.
Oh, okay. So
they're carnivores, it's bad for their teeth, which that makes sense. It would be bad just because of the thickness and the sugar would probably grate them.
Yeah. So generally, Sansa shouldn't be feeding Lady whatever she wants. Septa Mordain was right, although she was pointing it out because of propriety, not health.
And foreshadowing Sansa having a dog at her table.
I'm muting myself.
She'll be too excited. It's for the better.
Okay. Super chat. Just a decent $4.99. That makes me think that this is a product for sale at my local convenience store. It's very interesting, but it's Ashea is the best. I don't have Aziz here to say it for me, so I had to couch that by making a joke, but thank you. Moving forward, assuming we're good with that quote, I think, was Haley, is you're the one that's left, or is it?
I still have one,
okay,
I suppose.
Cool. I thought it was you.
We have time.
Yeah, we have time.
All right.
Perfect.
Final dragon quote. All right. So, she felt, this is about Dany, obviously, since that is like pretty much one of the only point of views that really talks about the dragons from Storm Swords. Okay. Where was I? Oh, okay. Mary Masdor had promised that she would never bear a living child. House Targaryen will end with me. That made her sad. You must be my children, she told the dragons, my 3 fierce children. Arstan says dragons live longer than men, so you will go on after I'm dead. Drogon looped his neck around to nip at her hand. His teeth were very sharp, but he never broke her skin when they played like this. Dany laughed and rolled him back and forth until he roared, his tail lashing like a whip. It's longer than it was, she saw, and tomorrow it will be longer still. They grow quickly now, and when they're grown, I shall have my wings. So, I don't know. I liked that one because it kind of talks about all of her relationships to the dragons, pets, children, possible weapons of mass destruction in the future, all of that stuff. And I also thought about, like a pet that will outlive you, like possibly like a turtle, since we talked about George really liking turtles. It's sad because she's reflecting on this sort of strange new future for herself, but also it becomes sweet when she feels that she can possibly count on these dragons.
Yeah, I do think that's a lovely quote. I mean, there's a lot of really, powerful quotes that relate to Daenerys and her dragons. Like, I mean, you picked them all out right there. But, I mean, they really are just this, like you said, I mean, they're nuclear weapons are weapons of mass destruction, but, I mean, she really has very few other ways to grasp power, so she needs it. She needs her wings.
It's true.
Anyone else? We are just under 2 hours, and we did get through all 4 rounds. I think I forgot to do mid-roll ad, actually, Aziz.
Yeah.
I did not do that because this document is messy, but I can do it at the end, I suppose. That's fine?
Sure. That's
okay. Let's see. I'm just making sure there's nothing else you wanted to talk about in terms of these quotes. Any quotes that any other extra quotes that you're like, I actually really want to talk about this, or Ice and Fire Con, heads up of any sort. Yeah, nothing? Okay. No Ice and Fire Con chat. All right.
Come to the Snarks and Grumpkins hunt.
Okay.
Come hunt Snarks and Grumpkins.
Do I need to sign up for that, Chloe?
No.
Okay.
No, you
come.
can come. Just a group of 4 to 6 people. I'll give you more info later.
Okay.
We're gonna have some tweets out about it this
Okay.
week, but it's like a photo scavenger hunt, and there will be dragons and wolves to find.
Yeah, cool.
So.
Yeah, I know last year I didn't do whatever the hunt was, and I was really, I don't know why I didn't do it or how I didn't do it. I was pretty bummed out. So I will do it this year.
I didn't do anything last year. I got invited to the con to play in band, and I'd never been to a con before, and it was like the time of my life, but I pretty much just partied. And this year I'm gonna do everything. I'm very excited. I just want to let you all know.
Well, I mean, the full schedule will be out on Monday, and honestly, I'll probably be up past midnight on Sunday, so it'll probably be up like late, like that night.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very excited. Very, very excited. Like I said, I keep saying something I'm most excited for. Right now, I'm most excited for Quiplash because I'll be debuting this game I've been working on. I've got like 166 prompts so far, which is about half of what I want. And so I'm getting them. So submit them. This is my last, call for that. Please give me your funny prompts.
Well, and also let me know, Ashaya, let us know if you need any help with that.
I talked to Kat and Dom, and they're gonna contribute more. We have plenty of time. But like I said, I want them from as many different people as possible, different voices and stuff like that. So the Cards Against Westeros thing you shared with me was incredibly helpful, actually. So that was nice. Anyway, so that
Cards Against Westeros.
Yeah, so I put a bunch of those in there. I even kept them separately in case we ever wanted to like do a different episode with cards, like a Cards Against Westeros specific pack with just those prompts, whatever. Anyways, we'll figure that out later. But I love it. Yeah, like I said, I will share once the prompts are done. Once I've created, I can't share it until I publish it. So like I can't edit it once I publish it. So around the time of the con, I will share the episode code so you all can play too, and we'll talk about that more later. So anyways, I'm gonna do this long mid-roll and end-roll thing that Aziz gets to do, and I have to do now. So that's fun. Sorry if I massacre your names, and if any of you guys are at all rushed, you can get out now and say goodbye, but if you're not, you can wait and listen to me say this. I'll give you your chance, though, just because we're about 2 hours in. Okay. That's your chance. All right, I'm going to go. Okay. Credit to our Blood Riders, Kohokoi, Master of the Bow, called Sun Piercer. Her latest kill was Lady Mother-in-Law of House Bitch for shaving both of her sons' heads without permission. Okay. That would actually, that would piss me off. At least boys, the hair grows back, as certain characters would say. So, we also have Vorsaki, wielder of a Valyrian seal Arak with a dragonbone hilt. Jay Wilson, Winter's King. Sir Stephen, the Hammer of the North. Winter's King, Lord of the First Men. Lady Eyre Ardras, Mother of Wolves. Sir Brian the Returned, Knight of the Last House, wielder of the Valyrian steel blade, Red Song. Sir Kobe of House Stonesmith, Words are Wind, Deeds are Stone. Lady Cat of the Big Pond, wielder of the Valyrian steel blade, Ginger's Honor. So now I have to get to the end roll credits, Aziz? Are they at the end of the document? No, they are not there for me. Well, I will talk here about the fact that you can get $5 off your tickets if you haven't gotten your tickets to Ice and Fire Con yet, using the code HISTORY. And it'll go towards us having free tickets, or already has, or whatever. So either way, the point is that you can get $5 off your tickets if you haven't bought it yet. But you probably should buy it now, right now, and sign up for all of the events, especially the Faceless Man competition, is what I think. Is it there, Aziz? No. Okay, I will keep stalling. No, it's about to be there in a second. Okay, I'm there. Perfect. Okay, I've got my credits I have to say. More patron credits that you guys have heard a bunch of times, but from Aziz, so not me. The mysterious BR, Hand of the King. Lady Suzanne Sinistral, the Learned, holder of the left-handed Valyrian shears called Penance, Hand of the Beard. Lord Jim the Fortuitous of Wars and Politics of Ice and Fire blog, which you can find, not there, sorry, and Warden of the West. Lord George Stormsville the Cunning, Lord of the Chiliad and Warden of the East. Cabothian Frozen, Lord of the Bricks and Castle Crimson Light, Defender of the Old Gods and Warden of the North. Lady Kelly McMath of Covington, Lady of the Villa Hills and Crescent Springs, Warden of the South. Next we have Lord James Tuttle, King of the Stepstones and the Narrow Sea, Commander of the Royal Fleet, consisting of the Narrow Fleet led by flagship Caraxes and the Bloodstone Fleet led by flagship Prince Daemon. Charlotte Oster, Corsair Queen of the Western Shivering Sea, Commander of the Briny Fleet, whose flagship is the barnacle-encrusted, violet-hulled Mercenaria. She carries the nacre-inlaid shucking blade, Crass Lover. That's a good one. That's new. Lord James Inkblade, the Scholar Knight, Master of Whisperers. Grand Maester Saria of the Barrows, Cinder of the Citadel. Lord Robert Jacobs, Master of Coin. Lord Daniel, the Sneaky Russian, Master of Ships. Are you watching The Americans, Daniel? Lady Direliz of Castle Nyaki, the Alpha Patron. Lord Dan of the Red Mountains and Castle Greatbell, Breaker of the Second Stone. Lord Skip of the Veldt, Lord of Castle Ganges. Gregor the Toasty, Lord of the Bread Fort, everyone's favorite name. Alicia Everlasting of the Green Blood, Lady of Desert Rose. Lord Ryan of Castle Stonegate, Guardian of the Rocky Mountain Pass. Lord Garin de Haviland of Devil's Hand Keep. Ashlyn Winter, the Hawk's Eye, Lady of Castle Skyfall. Lady Michael, I can't remember his name. Mikkel, sorry, of Moonacre, leader of the Werewood Protectorate Alliance. Lord of the Halls of Castle Hillcrest, wielder of the Valyrian steel machete Everglazed. Lord Alistair Whitaker, Lord of the Dawnhold. Lord Bemmy Snugglebunny, guardian of the hidden 100-acre Werewood, dual-wielding Glorious Morning and Little Light Wise. When you fear things cannot get worse, Snugglebunty enters the fray. Brian the Defender, Lord of the Spearfort and the Freelands, last scion of Clan McCulloch, strength and courage. The Bastard of the Wolfswood, first forester of the Old Gods, sworn to House Iron Werewood. Listen for the silence. Connor the Dungeon Master, Lord of Catamount Keep and guardian of the Smoky Mountain Pass. A lot of mountain passes. Lady Baelish, Dark Widow of Harrenhal. Lord Sidney Jesse, the Fallborn, Lord of Bluespring. Nevessa the Twin-Hearted, suspected skin changer, holder of Castle Carahelm. Ser Valentin of House Deegan, creator of the Game of Predictions. Lady Lyanna Kelly of Wolf Island, protectors of the Steelhold. King's Justice, Sir Troy the Steady, wielder of the Valyrian steel blade, Fate. Whew, I'm like halfway through, you guys. That is intense. Huh?
You're more than halfway.
More than halfway through. Okay, thanks, Aziz. I have more respect for Aziz today. Lady Jane of House Celtigar, the Emerald of the Evening, wielder of the Valyrian steel axe, Painkiller, Mistress of Sea Eagles, Mistress of Ships. Elia of Upstate, Master of Coin. Grand Maester Elizabeth, middle daughter of Lyanna Mormont, First Lady to forge both the silver and Valyrian steel link. Bold Betha of House Copperhook, Still Waters Run Deep, Master of Laws. And Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, the Smiling Wolf, Lord Commander Stephen Stark, all the super chats, Cartographer of Kings, who earned a white cloak through wisdom and learning as much as skill at arms. Now my Queensguard, Lord Captain Commander Hema Helmand, the Sellsword Sentinel, Lady Nymeria of House Sea Purtle, Alexander of House Atreides from the seat of Dune. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Becca the Bard, Songbird of the North. Ser Eric Redbeard Odinson, wielder of Tempest, a monstrous warhammer. Michonne the Melodious, Star of Old Town, Minds Over Masters. Ser Rambo, Knight of House Gannon, First Blood. Oh, it's funny to me every time. Beardguard, this is Sean's Beardguard. Lord Commander George the Golden. Sir Joshua Oakhart, the White Oak. Lady Rita of the Coppermane, the Unbound. Dance the Fervor. That's one of my favorite slogans in here, by the way. Dance the Fervor. Perfect for Sean. Sir Jeff, Warden of the AC, Wielder of Triad, the multifaceted beard of platinum, red, and brown. Stay frosty. Okay, and finally, the history of Westeros, Night's Watch. And hopefully they're watching for all of us. Lord Commander Benjen Umber, the Silent Giant, wielder of the Valyrian Steel Greatsword, Winter's Kiss. First Ranger Fabian Flowers, the Bastard of Greenshield. First Builder Patchface of Motley Wisdom. And First Steward Ser Jurian of the Torrentine, called Palewind. And, okay, so, now that I've said all of that, you guys have already told us who you are, but please do that again so I can take a break from talking. Let's start with you, Chloe.
I'm Chloe. I'm on Twitter and Tumblr as Lies in Arbor. I'm currently working on a huge 5-part Ashara Dane piece that I've been putting out, so check that out on there. You can also find my podcast, Drunk, A Song of Ice and Fire History, on YouTube and also on Podbean. And I'm really looking forward to Ice and FireCon. I'm the marketing director for Ice and FireCon, so you might see me on their Instagram or on Twitter. And we hope to see you there if you can come. Tickets are on sale till April 20th. So make sure to use history to get your $5 off.
Mm-hmm. You might have other plans that day, so get it done the day early. What about Tara? Tell us more about yourself, since you're also with Ice and FireCon and some other things.
So yeah, I am the founder and organizer of Ice and FireCon. I'm also, I don't know, a panelist, a podcaster, and author. I do a million things, wear a million hats, but Ice and FireCon is my main Song of Ice and Fire fandom thing. Sometimes I very often lurk on the Song of Ice and Fire Reddit, and sometimes I post. I went into a posting mode last night, so I'm at a Geek Saga literally everywhere. It's AGEEKSAGA, and it's Instagram, Reddit, Twitter. That's my Tumblr. It's my username everywhere. So.
All right.
And also iceandfirecon.com and at iceandfirecon and all that other stuff.
You guys are everywhere.
Follow us.
Yeah, you guys are on Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook. You know, I'm sure you guys have a Google Plus or some random old thing. Yeah.
No.
No Google Plus. Okay.
We might have Google Plus.
You might. Well.
Accidentally,
because everyone who has Google has that. But yes. Okay. What about you, Haley?
I am Haley Bowery. I'm the singer and front person of the Manimals. You can find that band at www.manimals.band. And then we're on Instagram and Twitter as at Manimals Band. You can find our record on Bandcamp, on Spotify, all over. It's called Seven. And you
have some cool videos too for that.
We do have some videos. Oh yeah, we have videos. We have some videos for some of the songs from Seven, and then so I think for we have one for the Arya song, for our Tyrion one, and Cersei song, and then also summer I did a mashup of an Ed Sheeran song plus Hands of Gold plus our song about Cersei to do thing. And then we also, a friend of mine and I did a parody rap about Harrenhal.
That one's great.
And it's called Harrenhal, and it's about Robert's Rebellion, and we try to get all the history in to the tune of the Beastie Boys Sabotage, so you can find that on YouTube. And also I'm on Twitter, but I rarely use it, but it's at Haley Bowery. And I'll see you at Ice and FireCon. I got a dragon onesie in the mail yesterday.
Awesome. That sounds great. I can't wait to see that. Do you have any other dragons to be with you? Or are you just going to be the sole dragon? And which dragon are you? Are you just Haley the dragon?
It's green, so I guess I'm Wriggle. Okay. But it sort of looks like a... what's it? The green? Is that from Pete's Dragon?
Yeah, right. That one's green.
It kind of looks a lot like that. It's really jolly looking.
Yeah, jolly. That's great. Yeah. Okay, Lady Gwyn, you told us a little bit of what you guys are up to. Refresh us on that.
Yeah. So I am with Radio Westeros podcast, and you can find us on YouTube, iTunes, RadioWesteros.com, and probably from there you find all of our social media. We just wrapped up a long series on the War of the Five Kings, 3 parts, going on 8 hours. We've also covered all of the 5 kings individually. But if that's not your bag, we're also in the middle of a series on the myths and legends of ice and fire. We've gone north, we've gone south, we're going east, and pretty soon we might just go all the way around the world.
Yeah.
So got a lot of that coming up, and also going to be at Ice and Fire Con next month.
Yeah,
so.
very exciting. Very exciting. So yeah, as for me, I was on Chloe's Drunk Song of Ice and Fire history, and we talked about Nymeria. You can find that, look at Twitter, go to her channel, look at History of Westeros History on YouTube, our likes, I liked it there, whatever, look it up, I don't know, I'm not gonna hold your hand. But you can find that. It was my first time getting drunk in years, my last time getting drunk in years. As well, but it was great. Zach from Game of Owns made my drinks very strong, but I was unable to tell, so I got too drunk. So that's a fun time, and fitting given that we're doing another Nymeria episode coming up. So yeah, I'll be at Ice and Fire Con as well. Like I said, you can use the code HISTORY. Whoa, Aziz! He started playing music very loud.
I was giving the link for the Harrenhal video.
Oh, it was Harrenhal. It was the beginning to Harrenhal. It just like in my ears. I don't know if anyone else heard that because like it might be recording desktop audio. I think everyone might have heard that. So let me know if you heard that because that was hilarious. I think maybe people did. Anyways, that's my cue to wrap it up. So, thank you, Aziz, for doing a near flawless job. I would call that like the cherry on top. That was a good call to play that. So everyone watch the Harrenhal video now. Okay. Thank you guys for joining me. We'll have another one, not ladies only, but we'll have another one, and I will do this again. It's just hard to pick just for guests, honestly. We managed to do it by keeping it to Ice and Fire Con people. We're like, okay, I'm gonna invite people to that are going to Ice and Fire Con. We're gonna talk about that because I just want to invite everyone on the show. I want to talk to you all. So, Aziz, you can do the intro outro now.
Okay.
You play it? No. Okay.